It's very dear to give them the word salad. Oh, it is a little bit, it's very cringy and irritating, but I'm so sorry. You just have to watch this. Kolu, he said he removed subsidy. Another lie he kept telling the world, and the world knows he's lying. How this can attract any investor to that contraption? Why are you not saying it? Why are you not saying it? Oh, he's the number one marketer of Nigeria. Marketing waiting. Talking like oh dear. It be like say the plug and the fuse they are like already apart. And you can't make any sense of anything he's saying. But of course, the word salad will make him sound like he's communicating. And since now different languages and interpreters did the conference, well, I would say you should take a look at the faces of his listeners. So let's go there. Sorry, it's about 5-6 minutes. All right. Sorry, let's watch. Kolu
took over the presidency last year in May, so you have had 11 months as president. You took over at a critical time for Nigeria. The economic situation was tough, but you took measures from the beginning to then recalibrate the economy. You cut the subsidies on fossil fuels. You also took aims at dealing with the currency. And of course, it's been a tough year economically for Nigeria, but I guess you're now seeing also some light in the end of the tunnel. And Nigeria being such an important economy, not only in Africa, in the world, how do you see now the prospects and what are your next steps to really make Nigeria's economy grow further?
Thank you very much. Salam alaikum. And let me, in addition, join in congratulating the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for putting this opportunity together. I know it's not easy. For Nigeria, we are immensely consistent with our belief that the economic collaboration and inclusiveness is necessary to engender stability in the rest of the world. Concerning the question of the subsidy removal, there's no doubt that it was a necessary action for my country not to go bankrupt. One, to reset the economy and the pathway to growth. It is going to be difficult, but the hallmark of leadership is taking difficult decisions at the time it ought to be taken decisively. That was necessary for the country. Yes, there will be blowback. There is expectation that the difficulty in it will be felt by a greater number of the people. But once, I believe it was their interest that is the focus of the government, it is easier to manage and explain the difficulties. Along the line, there is a parallel arrangement to really cushion the effect of the subsidy removal on the vulnerable population of the country. We share the pain across board. We cannot but include those who are very vulnerable. Luckily, we have a very vibrant, youthful population, interested in discoveries. And highly ready for technology, good education, committed to growth. We were able to manage that and partition the economic drawback and the fallout of the subsidy removal. Equally, it engendered transparency, accountability, and physical discipline for the country. And that, to me, is more important to focus on what direction we should go. And we pursue that rigorously. The currency management was necessary equally to remove the artificial element of value in our currency. Let our local currency find its level and compete with the rest of the world currency and remove arbitrage, corruption, and opaqueness. That's what we did. At the same time, that's a two-engine problem in a very turbulent situation for the government. But we are able to manage that turbulence because we prepared for inclusivity in governance and rapid communication with the public to really see what is necessary and what we must do. Today's forum is equally valuable for us to share experiences and share the hope of the future. What is missing? And I'm glad the kingdom rely on the window, the word collaboration and inclusiveness. The capital formation that is necessary to drive the economy, like agriculture, food security, innovation, technology advancement, must be an inclusive program of the entire world. No one should be left behind. The fear of lack of capital in Africa, stigmatization. And I'm glad the world is recognizing the need that the type of population growth that Africa is experiencing, the diversity of its resources, must be married with its economic opportunity. We must collaborate to do that, and that's what we are doing so far.
Nuisance leleyi. Nuisance leleyi.
Now, I don't want to believe that it's just me. So that I don't go be like, say, my ego is because you don't like him. He actually made a lot of sense. I know Tinubu speaks the language of the gods, okay? And that is the language of Bulaba, blue, Bulaba, like this.
If we lend ourselves to innovation, we can create wonders.
Yeah, it's a successful again, a town hall, different from Blue Bulaba.
So just to remind you, but when Tinubu speaks, right, most of the time, that is what I hear. Okay. But because he can drop in all this fancy word inside those things, right, to make it look like it's making any sense, all right? Well, a lot of you may be better than me. Tell me, could you make any sense out of all Tinubu said? Hang on, I told you I'm not good at quoting him, or else I'm just going to run down my brain. Like I'll get exhausted immediately trying to quote Tinubu. But may I tell you a few things we are here. When he started, he said something about Nigeria has 70% population of youth. And this youth, they are now ready for technology. I don't know what that means. Okay. Then he says something about the challenges. It's difficult. The challenges that they have been facing. However, he says something about inclusiveness. The word inclusiveness. Okay. And then what else did I hear him say? Like I said, I hardly able to. So tell me, could you make any sense of that? Like, be honest, I'm going to read the comments. Did you get anything? It was everywhere. It was using all those buzzwords, right? But, I mean, hang on. What do you think? If your press idiots, okay, actually have something doing, somebody will get 48 ministers, and you could not pick 2, 3 of them to use what they are doing as your talking point. For example, well, thank you very much for that question. It has not been easy since we came in. We came on board almost a year now. It hasn't been easy, I have to be honest. Nigeria was facing serious economic crunch. We were battling with, a lot of monetary problems where the revenue accruing to the government has become so dwindled due to corruption. So when we came in, we have managed to go after those who looted Nigeria economy. And as I'm seated here with you, I can confirm this, that we have recovered more than 20 trillion naira, and we are still going to get more. So from that background, I have appointed a firebrand, anti-corruption czar to further go, including the members of my own political party. They are actually the most that have been arrested, and we have recovered over 20 trillion from them, including in dollars. Okay. So, and when we came in, we realized that we can no longer continue to, spend our dollars to back the naira. So, my government, when we came in, and I appointed a new central bank governor, and we sort of mop up some money right there that we could get, and we got some investors as well who came on board. Now, from the electricity generation and distribution that we met a year ago, I mean, it was worse. It can't even power any real industry. Talk less of industrialized country that we want to see in Nigeria, kind of, right? Say something like that. Say, okay, so in the last 11 months, my government has invested at least over $5 billion on electricity generation, and electricity has improved. Okay, it has improved. Now we are generating this, we are distributing that, and we are still opening doors for more investors to come in and help us kind of take this to the rural areas and power every home in the country. Okay, so in the area of insecurity, so I want to assure you that this is one of the reasons why investors have stayed away from Nigeria in the last 11 months, right? The government has intensified efforts. Okay, we have arrested more than 5,000 terrorists. I don't want to tell you the numbers of them we have killed, and out of these 5,000 terrorists, we've sorted some, and a special court has been set up. And so far, we have received over 500 convictions for the crimes of different acts of terrorism in Nigeria. We have improved surveillance. We have doubled recruitment, and we have improved the payment welfare of the soldiers and the policemen across board to reduce corruption and encourage them to further defend the country. And when it comes to petroleum, right, Nigeria has been spending so much money, okay, paying for the fuel subsidy. So when I came on board, I removed that. And within the space of 3 months, I've been able to save over, 2 trillion naira. You see, this 2 trillion naira, with some little money I found elsewhere, we have managed to put 2 refineries back now are operating. Then we have a big one coming on, which is private, it's not government, okay? But right now, Nigeria is now we are in the next 1 year, okay? We will be able to actually produce more than 70% of our own local consumption and reduce so drastically our reliance on importation. These are things that people will sit down there and be like, oh, that's prospect. Okay. Man, I think I'm going to go do something in Nigeria. I think something is happening in that country. Or you sat there. You're talking about difficulties. It's difficult. We have this, we have that, and all of that. I mean, you could pick any. Like before we came on board, you see, there is a ministry called the Ministry of, Ministry of Humanitarian and the Poverty Alleviation, right? You won't believe this, guys, right? We are talking about a ministry that was bragging to be sharing over 500 billion naira to poorest people in the country, and there was no a single register. My government has arrested the former minister and everybody in that ministry under R, and those who have already been indicted, they are already waiting for their day in court. They will be tried for their crime. We've recovered so and so. So in the last 11 months, I have put together a team that has now managed to develop a system, a technology. We have the 70% of Nigerians are young people. So we have been able to carve out some great minds from them, and they have developed this software, developed this template for us to actually verify and register all the vulnerable people in Nigeria that need support. And I've also ensured that adequate funding has been provided for that purpose, where Nigerians, poorest Nigerians, now are having access to that stipend we are giving to them. Our hope is that if our finance or if our income improves, we are going to increase how much they have access to. Come on, man. Me only president in man sorrow. Tell me, say I don't feel be your president if I talk like that. If I am already your president and you hear me talking about all this abroad, even you, won't you be proud? Even you, will be say you know support them. All this is what I just talk right now. If there are things that does exist, I mean, if there are, sorry, if all these things are things that exist in Nigeria, where you can say, oh, Nigeria is not there yet, but I can tell you there's so much work going on electricity generation and distribution, infrastructural development, no joke or more. See, the fact that they have even arrested more than 90% of those who work with Bokuwari, and they have collected over 20 trillion naira from them is enough. Now they are not borrowing money. They are now investing in the country. And these are the pointers, things they can either work or fail, but you will never be blamed for not trying. If I sit down somewhere, they talk about these things as your president, you say, sure, you know, go like me. But one bala blue, bulaba, who prefer praise singers, ass lickers, forced himself on the supposed 200 million people. And he became the #1 embarrassment for the entire contraption. Listen to Kagame.
Innovation. You're also being one of the leaders behind the Africa Continental Free Trade Agreement, and a successful implementation of that could add a lot of growth to Africa, and it can become one of the largest single markets in the world. Listening to your colleagues here, but also the complexities, how do you see Africa in the years to come? How can Africa manage in this transformative decade, as Kristalina was mentioning?
Well, thank you very much. First of all, I want to thank the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for enabling us to be here to have this very meaningful discussion. Straight away to the question, it's even more complicated than that, and we cannot understand where we have come from as Rwanda without looking at the history, the geography, everything is complicated that you have to deal with. And even in the development of our economy and our country generally, it's like you are always fighting for every step of the way forward. And that therefore means when we are talking about inclusivity, it's not just a word, nice word, and with a nice meaning. It's a lot of work to do, even complex, like in our country, and that background I've just mentioned. At the same time, we don't look at ourselves just as Rwanda and with all those complications about history and geography and so on and so forth. We see ourselves in the setting of the continent of Africa that has a lot to share. So growth we have realized and continue to realize is driven by what we try to do within the country itself with those constraints, but also looking at what you can do with the sub-regions we find ourselves in or cooperating with. But everything adding to the optimism that was talked about, looking at where Rwanda has come from and where it is now, should actually add to the optimism that people should have, looking at even a much wider aspect of where the world is coming from and where it is going, and therefore also Africa and where it is going. In our case, I'd say a few things that tie all those together. One is putting the people at the center of everything we are doing. And therefore, that means investments in our human capital. How do we develop it, and how does it find that space to be able to contribute and to their own well-being and development? And in that, we have invested in education, in health, and above all, technology has been a focus for us, and integrating that in the education system or in the health services as we move forward. Like for health services, for example, we find we have made use of technology like drones, where you find drones are developing and are delivering health services to rural hospitals and so on and so forth. So I'm talking about investing in education, education and technology and health, but being brought together by that technology that we also invest in. I think that was mentioned, and technology keeps changing, and it's evolving to new levels of complexity. That's why we're talking about artificial intelligence. Even that area, Rwanda has not been left behind. We are investing in that, as well as we invest in agriculture. How does it
Innovation.
At least you heard him. Abi, that's what they were asking Tinubu to tell them. Okay? That, oh, we have invested or we have introduced technology to healthcare, education. So somebody said, so you, Mayegun, all these things where you they talk. When I was giving my speech, somebody took it serious. I know it's a joke though, but all right. Somebody said, all these things where you they talk, Mayegun, and you say yourself go have to be lying. I said, if I was your president, 11 months is enough for me to actually start something I can talk about. Here you get. And that was me, where imagination won't kill me. But it's a good thing now. It's a sign of a healthy brain. Some of you don't know, or maybe you do. It is actually a very good sign. It's a sign of a very, very good brain. If you can create scenario like that, quickly, sharply like that, it means your brain is. So my brain is very, very good. I know. But like 11 months now, I could have all of that. I just look at all my ministries and say, okay, you. At least I've been doing something in those places, something I can talk about and tell the world. That even if I won't lie, some lies they will be saying.